Hello. Hello.
Hello!
This is my first time. I've had a really constructive, productive day, as well as organising all of my thoughts into jokes and then attempting to organise them into a set. I also drew a picture. And, you know, this really pleased me. I'm really proud of it because it confirmed that I'm multi-talented. But in view of the theme of the evening, I really wanted to clear up any kind of ambiguity and make it sure that this image wasn't subject to misinterpretation. So it's a picture of a man, but I wanted to make it clear that it's not Muhammad. It's not even a man really. It's more a person. It's very abstract. But I guess I should continue with my set. I should be kind of honest and open and place myself on the spectrum of belief. I'm an atheist. A pretty ardent atheist, so ardent in fact that when my ex-girlfriend turned to me and she said, I want to marry you because we're made for each other, this to me was a source of kind of irreconcilable difference because, yeah, you can see it coming. Because, you know, her statement implies a teleological conception of the universe and presupposes a designer. So I felt that things weren't meant to be. But you know, I've not always been an atheist. When I was a young, vulnerable adolescent, I fell in with the crowd at Hawley Baptist Church, and I bought into many of their fallacies. Like I was a young Earth creationist, and I also denied the theory of evolution. And then I had a conversation with a scientist, and he explained to me, you know, the error of my ways. So having this conversation, I said, well, you know, evolutionary theory doesn't make sense to me. And he said, why? And I said, well, how can you explain the incomplete fossil record? And he said, well, it's not actually that incomplete. There's quite a lot of evidence corroborating the theory of evolution. And I said, well, you know, that may be so, but we don't see evolution happening, so how can we be sure that that's the right way of looking at things? And he said, well, we can observe something analogous to evolution when we see that bacteria kind of acquire an immunity to antibiotics. And I said, well, this all seems quite reasonable. I'm going to change and revise my beliefs because that's what we do as human beings, and it's an admirable trait. We have a tendency to let the facts speak for themselves. We don't twist the facts to fit pre-existing religious beliefs, you know. And I think that tendency explains the long-term decline of creationism in the United States and the unqualified global success of the evolutionary theory. But when my belief in creationism and my Protestantism was displaced, I still felt, you know, a pull. I felt someone was watching me, and I also felt, you know, that I was lying in bed at night and I was hearing people speaking to me, and I thought, you know, that's the voice of God. So I thought I'd try out the other religions, have a look at them. First I looked at Catholicism. First I looked at Judaism because I don't like foreskins. Then I looked at Islam because I don't like clitorises either. And then, you know, and then I considered joining the Westboro Baptist Church because I hold all of humanity in contempt. And then, you know, Catholicism, it was almost there, a real pull for me, 3 reasons. When I fuck, I don't like to wear a condom. I don't have any children. And, you know, I feel that at the time it was intuitively compelling that the best way in which one can show one's respect for God is to eat him. So ultimately I decided that, you know, none of these religions were really for me. I liked bits of them, cherry-picked, and I thought, well, what's the best way of kind of finding something that's right for me? I developed an algorithm, computer program that kind of, you know, as the input or the text of all the major religions, because I like bits of them, but I also kind of thought, well, there must be something common to all of them, and so, you know, maybe I can find something pure that expresses the essence of our relationship with God. And so, you know, I put all of the data into the algorithm, all the texts, you know, the Quran, the Bible, the Dharmic equivalents, and every time I ran this program, for whatever reason, I'm not really sure why, everything that came out was deeply misogynistic and homophobic. So, you know, being a liberal-minded man, I wasn't really happy with this, and I felt really disoriented and upset, and well, this will be done soon. I felt really disoriented and upset, and I was still hearing all of these the voices, and I still felt that someone was watching us, and so I kind of, I sat in front of the internet, and I was there for hours kind of working out what's wrong with me. Are these really manifestations of religious belief, or is it something more sinister? And so I kind of did some research, and I stumbled across WebMD, and it was kind of an illuminating experience. And I went to see the doctor, and it turned out I wasn't religious after all. He diagnosed me with schizophrenia, so everything was okay. Thank you.